I didn't flinch when she said it. I didn't look at her either. The courtroom smelled like old paper and panic. My mother's voice cracked against the marble walls, sharp enough to cut. Mentally sick, she spat it like a verdict she'd rehearsed for years. The gallery murmured. The judge leaned back. My attorney's pen stopped mid-stroke. I folded my hands. Calm. Still. Silence is a weapon if you know how to hold it. This wasn't the first time she tried to erase me with a diagnosis. It was just the first time she did it under oath. Once, she braided my hair before school. Once, she taught me how to read balance sheets before bedtime numbers. She said, "Don't lie." Once, she told me I'd inherit the world if I learned how to listen. I listened. She forgot that part. The betrayal didn't arrive screaming. It came in polite envelopes and sudden concern. A conservatorship petition. For my safety. An emergency hearing. For my health. The family attorney stopped returning my calls. The trust administrator started ceasing people I'd never met. At dinner, my mother watched me like I was a stranger renting my own face. I noticed the seams. I always do. The day I found the draft diagnosis signed, pre-filled, I didn't cry. I closed the folder. I started counting. Who had access? Who benefited? Who panicked when I asked simple questions? The answer circled back to the same place it always does. Control. So I planned. Quietly, methodically. I let them think the label had stuck. I let the whispers grow legs. I canceled lunches. Missed a gala. Spoke softly. Took notes. I hired 2 people under shell retainers. A forensic psychiatrist who specialized in hostile family litigation. And a compliance auditor who knew how to read lies in ledgers. I installed nothing. I followed everything. Emails don't need bugs when people are careless. Depositions don't need threats when people are greedy. I built a calendar of contradictions. I collected voice notes where concern turned into strategy. I watched signatures appear on documents my mother pretended not to understand. And I made one phone call they never imagined I'd make. My father's retirement trust. The one nobody talked about, because it was boring and old and safe. The one I'd been named successor trustee on when I turned. 25 paperwork. Signed on a Tuesday afternoon. Forgotten by Wednesday. The trust owned shares. Quiet shares. Enough to matter. Enough to vote. By the time we walked into court, the pieces were set. They just didn't know they were already standing in the last scene. My mother screamed. Her attorney nodded along, confident. The judge watched. Like he was trying to decide if stillness meant guilt or discipline. I said nothing. My attorney stood. "Your Honor," she said, voice level before we proceed. "We request the court recognize a material conflict of interest and review newly submitted exhibits." She handed over a binder, thick, indexed, labeled. The judge flipped once, twice. He stopped. He looked at my mother's attorney. "Do you truly have no idea who she is?" The room went cold. "What?" he said too quickly. The judge turned a page. Successor trustee of the Harlan Retirement Trust. Beneficial owner of 76% of the voting shares held by the trust's portfolio companies. Including? He paused. Reading including the holding company that retains your firm? The attorney's face drained. My mother's mouth opened, then closed. Her hand reached for the table like it might float away. I finally looked at her. She didn't recognize me. Additionally, the judge continued, "This court has reviewed an independent psychiatric evaluation conducted by Dr. Reyes. It finds no evidence of incapacity. On the contrary, it details sustained psychological coercion." My attorney slid one last document forward. A motion. A notice. Filed at Badenlingiefen AM. "By operation of trust law," she said. "The trust exercised its voting rights this morning, effective immediately." I met my mother's eyes. Just once. "Understood," I said quietly. The judge's gavel didn't need to fall. The damage already had. Outside, phones rang. Boards convened. Partners whispered. By noon, the family attorney resigned from 3 committees. By 2, my mother's bank froze her discretionary accounts pending review. By 4, a statement leaked, carefully worded, apologetic, afraid. She tried to speak to me in the hallway. Tried to reach for my sleeve like she used to when I crossed streets too fast. I stepped back. I didn't do this to punish her. I did it to end the game. That night, I sat alone and listened to the quiet I'd earned. No regret, just relief. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it waits, counts, and moves when the room is full. They called me sick because they needed me small. They forgot what I learned when I was listening. I don't raise my voice anymore. I don't have to.